Alright guys, welcome back again. So in this video I'll be treating differences between the major and minor chord. Okay, maybe you don't even understand or you don't know what it is when they say a chord is a major chord or it's a minor chord. Okay, as the case may be. So I will try and explain in this video. Just follow as I explain. Now on the key of C, this is C major chord, and this is a major chord, chord of 1. Then chord 2 is a minor chord, chord 3 is a minor chord, chord 4 is a major chord, chord 5 is a major chord, chord 6 is a minor chord, chord 7 a diminished chord, chord 1 then major. Now, how do I know that chord 1 is major and how do I know chord 2 is minor? The reason is because the triad note that forms chord of 1, which is note 1, 3 and 5, the interval between them is what determines what the chord is. Okay, the interval between the notes that forms that particular chord is what determines if the chord is major or minor. Now, the interval between chord 1, which is of the note 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. Between 1 and 3, we have 2/0 step. We have 2/0 step interval between 1 and 3. Then between 3 and 5, we have 1.5 step. Between 3 and 5, we have 1.5 step. How do I mean? This is 1. This is 3. 1, 3. Then this is 5. Okay? Alright. So between 1 and 3, we have 2/0 step. 2. How do I know it's 2? From 1 to 2 is 1 step. Then from 2 to 3, another 1 step. 1 plus 1 is what? 2. 1, 2. So between 1 and 3 is 2/0 step. Then between 3 and 5 is 1.5 step. That is, so how do I know? You notice that between here, which is 3, we have 4, then before 5. So between 3 and 4, all right, between 3 and 4 is half step. Then between 4 and 5 is 1 step. So it means between from here to here, the interval is 1.5. 1.5. From here to 1.5. So it means from between those 3 notes, 1, 3, 5 is 2 step over 1.5 step. 2 steps over 1.5 step. And that's what makes this chord, it's a major chord, because the notes that are combined in it, the interval between them is 2 step over 1.5 step. I hope you get 1, 3, 5. Do, mi, so. Between do and mi is 2/0 step. Then between mi and so is 1.5 step. That's a major chord for you. Then chord 2, which is re, fa, la, re, fa, la, re, fa, la. So the chord note is 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. So 2, 4, 6. That's chord 2, 2, 4, 6. So let's check the distance between 2, 4, 6. Now between 2 and 4, we have 1.5 step. How do I know? If I count it on a single string, Abi, this is 4, this is 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 2, this is 4. So between these 2 and 4, we have 1.5 step. We have 1.5 step. Why? Because from here to here, re, mi is a whole step. Then between mi and fa is an half step. So re, fa, 1.5 step. Then from fa to la, so re, mi, fa, fa, la. Okay. So between 4 and 6, which is our la, we have 2 whole step. We have 2 whole step. So it means this chord 2, which is re, fa, la, the distance or the interval between the notes is 1.5 over 2, and that makes it a minor chord. The major chord is 2 over 1.5 step. The minor is 1.5 over 2. Again, the major is 2 whole step over 1.5 step, while the minor is 1.5 step over 2 whole step. All right, so that is for what's it called? Chord 2. The same thing with chord 3. Mi, so, ti. Between mi and so, we have 1.5 step. Then between so and ti, we have 2 whole steps. So that is 1.5 over 2. That is another minor chord. Then after that, we move to chord 4. Chord 4 is a major chord because the notes that comprise of chord 4 is fa, la, do. That is 4, 6, 1, 4, 6, 1, 4, 6, 1. So 4, 6, 1. So what is the distance between 4, 6, 1? All right. Between 4 and 6 is 2 whole step. 2 whole step. Then between 6 and 1, 1.5 step. So what is that? A major chord. That is 2 over 1.5. Just like chord 1. Okay? The same thing when we come to chord 5. So ti, re. The same thing. The distance between the notes is, that is 2 over 1.5. 2 over 1.5. That's another major chord. Then when we come to la, that one, the chord, the triad is la, do, mi, la, do, mi, la, do, mi, la, do, mi. So let's check the distance between these 3 notes. Between la and do, we have 1.5 step. 1.5. All right. Then between do, mi, we have 2 whole step. So we have another minor chord. All right. We have another minor chord. Then after la, then it is ti. The chord of this ti is the triad. The triad is ti, re, fa, ti, re, fa, ti, re, fa. So let's check. Let's see the interval between ti, re, fa. Between ti and re, we have 1.5 step. Then between re, fa, we have another 1.5 step. So this is 1.5 over 1.5. That is a diminished chord. You see that earlier we've been having is either 2 over 1.5 or 1.5 over 2. But here we have 1.5 over 1.5, and that is why it is called a diminished chord. It is neither major nor minor. It is diminished. So that is why your chord of T is called a diminished chord. I hope you understand this. Try and watch this video over and over again. You grab it. So that is what guides the principle of major and minor chord. Is actually the interval between each note, and the way it is applicable on the guitar, the same way it's applicable on the piano and every other musical instrument. All right. So I hope you understand. Thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and do well to share this video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.